Good morning, everybody. I think I'd like to share the topic a little bit from your expertise. We call it water-sensitive urban planning and design. I think just last week or 2 weeks ago, we have extreme flood in Europe. We call it 1,000-year event. And this is German. And this is China. This is 2,000-year event. So I want to say that extreme weather conditions become normal. And what should we do? And in Taiwan, every year we are supposedly to have 4.5 typhoon every year. But last year we don't have any typhoon. So we have very severe drought problem just 2 months ago. Then certainly after 1 week, we have very severe flood problem. So this is the situation we are now facing. According to our analysis in the past, every 19 years, we are going to have a severe flood. Now every 7 years, we are going to have a severe flood. In the past, every 70 years, we are going to have a severe drought. Now every 9 years. So either flood or drought, and nothing in between. And in the past, we believe human being can conquer nature. So we established a very big system. We called it Taipei Flood Defense System. Actually, it was finished during my term as a commissioner of Water Resource Agency in 1997. We protect the whole Taipei with a very high dike, hundreds of pumping stations, and hundreds of the water gate. And we have the most accurate warning system. Actually, in Danshui River, 6 hours ahead, we know exactly what's the water level, speed, velocity, discharge. So we control using this big data, so we can control the whole flood management. But we have spent about 300 billion NT, is almost 10 billion NT. It's a lot of money in the 1997. But I cannot guarantee Taipei won't get any flood. If we should have 2,000-year flood event, Taipei still get flooded. But you cannot say that 40 years ago, those engineers, they were wrong. 40 years ago, we believe we can conquer nature, and 40 years ago, we can never dream that's going to have a rainfall over 2,000 millimeters. So what if I was a minister at that time? I'm going to use urban design measures to solve the flood problem. And Taipei got flooded in year 2001, but I can guarantee this kind of situation won't happen again because we have spent a lot of money try to keep the flood away from us. So I'm trying to say that we're using land use planning to solve the flood problem. So actually we're talking about, it's a matter of paradigm shift. The land reform essentially built upon the changing of traditional living patterns and value. We have changed our living pattern, redesigned our city, and we have different value to our lives. So we talk about spatial planning. You are going to talk about energy fishery, agriculture, ecosystem, and everything. We have the risk on water management, and actually we need insurance. It's the largest crisis for human beings, and somehow it's the largest opportunity. But this opportunity, we need an integrated approach for adaptation and mitigation, and also multifunctional land use, and most importantly, we need innovation. So we are now trying to think, what's the right population for Taipei? In 1945, we only have 1 million people live in Taipei, but now almost 8 million people live in Taipei. If you have 8 million people live in such crowded area, you believe engineer can solve the flood problem. To solve the drought problem, naturally it's not possible. So we are now very, very seriously consider we should reallocate our capital from Taipei to Taichung. By doing that, 3 million people will leave Taipei, then hopefully our people, our industry, it will be evenly distributed on our land. Now we are working on that. Actually, by doing that, we have to calculate the carrying capacity of our land. It's based on the environmental limit, the land resource availability, water resource availability, public resource availability, and we have to predict our population and demand. So we are now working on it. That means we want to smart use of our land. And when I used to be the Minister of the Interior, actually we have established a huge cloud. Actually, all the data related to spatial planning is now on our website. You are welcome to visit our website. Our policies, we have an open data policy. Our data has to be open to the public. But with this cloud, we need data mining. We have to establish decision supporting system, scenario analysis, policy action plan, and budget allocation. Actually, when I used to work for the government, I try to encourage my colleagues. Politics needs some scientific backup. Actually, there's a lot of work universities have to do. And this is the flood disaster map. And this is the landslides disaster map. And this is the debris flow disaster map. I asked my colleague to overlap those maps into, we call it integrated disaster map. Actually, this map was done in the year 2013. So we forward the map to the local city, local county, and ask them to redesign the city, redesign the country. So in the future, the land use in Taiwan is based on the different risk of the disaster. For example, for the low risk area, we're working on prevention and monitoring. In the medium low risk area, actually is our emergency response. We make sure no matter what happens, you are safe. In the high risk area, and we try to change the land use, we have to try to reallocate the people and the infrastructure. So we want to solve the city flood problem using non-engineering way. So what kind of living or environment do we want? Actually, flood-proofing, urban planning, and landscaping, we have to work together. So actually, we are talking about the resilience approach. Actually, resilience approach is very different from our traditional way of thinking. That means there's a very good terminology is design for failure. From the case in Europe and from case in China, we can guarantee there's no such thing as safe design, especially the extreme weather condition. So we have to make sure we redesign the city, redesign the town. When it's over the protection criteria, we make sure the function, the major function of the city still keeps. So this case is this city is called Dordrecht in Rotterdam in the Netherlands. You can see that the water is over the window, and this gentleman doesn't have to be reallocated because that we call it design for failure. And we want to enhance the resilience of the city. Actually, a lot of people, especially the IE people, AI people, they say we have a very smart city. But what if you get flooded? It's not smart at all. The case in China, in Zhengzhou, the Chinese used to be so proud of they don't have to use cash. Everybody is run by their mobile. But if the city gets flooded, actually those kind of smart things won't work anymore. So we say we try to increase the resilience of city. Actually, it's a system behavior. It's not just one function. It's not just great infrastructure. We are talking about we need the green infrastructure. So from blue and green infrastructure actually increase to serve. We are trying to protect the flood. It sees the protection criteria. And this is the ordinary landscape during the ordinary times, and flood comes, it goes like this. So you combine your flood defense system with your landscape. And actually you can use in the storage, you can use a underground parking lot, and then sometimes when flood comes, it can become a detention basin. And actually the whole city have different functions, which we have to redesign it. Actually, there are so many disciplines involved. We improve the water quality, we have to maximize the network capacity, and we have to improve the health and the beings, enhance the quality of urban space. Actually, we have to work together as a team from the different government agency and from different disciplines. So from that, actually the regions I mean is from little rent to design rent to extreme rent. Actually, we have different concepts, different methodology, different measures, try to improve the resilience of the city. So actually in the past, the land was not developed. We built a city. Supposedly those water have to penetrate into the ground. Now it's become runoff. So when I used to be the Minister of the Interior, I changed the law. The developer can develop the land from left-hand side to right-hand side. Yes, they can do that, but they have to make sure not a single drop of the water more can be released from the projects. We call it low impact development. You cannot develop, but make sure when you develop the impact is limited, is according to the law. So there are so many different facilities in this local low impact development. Actually, those elements has to combine with the landscape, with the design of the city. So these two of my students' PhD thesis and 5 master thesis, how to design a city. In the China, they call it Spongy City. The water can penetrate underground and connect it to the existing drainage systems. In the past, city become bigger and bigger, and the government is busy building the drainage system. The drainage system become bigger and bigger. Actually, the flood problem can never be solved. So my idea, the small part is actually low-lying park, constructed wetland, detention basin, and from the small system to medium system to larger system, using urban design measures to solve the flood problem. It's very easy to say, very difficult to implement, because in the central government, 3 ministries involved. In the city government, 5 departments involved. In the university, 3 disciplines involved. And the future of the city will like that. Probably is very common in the United States, in Europe, but it's not that common in Asia. So we make the city become beautiful. We make sure all the water is permeable and can be entered the underground. We have a green roof, all kinds of facility, and hopefully we can solve the flood problem. Actually, Singapore, they have a strategic planning for Singapore and come out with very successful. And actually, Stockholm, we call it the green capital of Europe. So actually, when we are talking about the low impact development, we're talking about storm management, water resources management, and create environment. Actually, most of the politicians, they want to know that by doing that, we solve the flood problem, we improve the living environment, and also we increase the price of the land. And in the upper view, you can see that the traditional drainage system actually is very expensive. If we manage to keep some of the water underground, in the bottom figure, you can see you don't have to spend that much money on your drainage system. We call it best management practice. We want to solve the flood problem, not necessarily you have to spend a lot of money. Actually, we have several cases in Taiwan when I used to be the vice mayor of New Taipei City. This case actually is a very polluted canal in the township called Xinzhuang. That is a city about 500,000 people. And all that sewage come to this canal. It becomes so polluted, the smell was so bad, and it got flooded very easily. So when I used to be the vice mayor, the very first day I asked 5 director general come to my office, director general from transportation, water resources, environmental, and urban planning, and economic development. I invite them to my office, and I told them, this polluted water has to be a clean water, a clean canal with clean water within 4 years. How come 4 years? The term of the mayor in Taiwan is 4 years. We have to make sure the mayor, when when you finish the term, the project is there. Actually, it's quite simple. We just build a 2 box cover to intercept the sewage and transfer into the concentrated wastewater treatment plant nearby, treat it and put it back. So it's as simple as that. It used to look like this. Now it looks like this. Water is clean. Actually, those water are recycled water. You don't have to you don't have to spend a lot of money, and it's done like that. We spent 2.3 billion NT. The government invests 2.3 billion NT. But after that, actually the land price double and the house price triple. We create a lot of revenue. And also there's another project we just finished in the city of Taichung. Actually, the mayor invited me to go to Taichung to saw the very polluted and the river in Taichung. And after that, they invited me to a university in Donghai University. There's a very polluted water nearby the university campus. So I went to visit the site, and I asked the Donghai University, can you allow me to use part of your land? Then I established, we call it Pebble treatment plant underground. I use the biofilm of the pebble, then I can remove 80%, even 85% of the contaminant. So actually the project we start to discuss, and we signed the MOU between city of Taichung and the Donghai University. Then after 2 years, last year, the project is done. So actually, but most importantly is when we work on a project, I'm using a process, we call it participatory decision-making process. We make sure that all the relevant department of the university, the students, professors, they work together and they discuss, they talk. And we invite all the NGO, all the NPO, and even the elementary school, middle school, everybody talk and find out with their own design. Just by doing that, actually we change the culture of the operation of city of Taichung. We let the Donghai University, the different discipline of the department, they can talk to each other. So now project is done. We treat the water using the very environmental friendly way, and it's there. See, actually, the left-hand side is our wastewater treatment plant, and on top of that, you cannot see it. So now it was before, and this is after. Actually, it's already done already, and this is before, and this is after. 2 years, the project is done. I think everybody's very happy. And also, most importantly, I have this cleaned up water go to the campus of the Donghai University. I create a canal and make the campus become beautiful. And when the treated water, the clean water, enter the original Dongda Creek, actually I put a very small turbine. I can generate, we call it green electricity, small hydropower. Actually, by doing that, I can have generate green energy. Then I can have a green energy certificate. I have already signed a contract with Delta Electronic in Taiwan, and they like to buy the green certificate, and those money returned to the Donghai University. And so that they can use in that to maintain this facility, and they can use the money for their environmental education. By doing that, they told me that the Donghai University is totally changed. So that students enjoy this, but this activity very much. And then I asked the city of Taichung to really look into all your drainage system, your irrigation system, find out all the potential sites of small water power. So now, hopefully, next year or 2 years from now, they can generate a lot of electricity. They can generate a lot of, we call it green energy certificate, and this is a very good environmental friendly things and promoting the policy of the government. So in conclusion, actually, when we come to the global climate change, we always tend to like to discuss technical problem. But I always ask myself, or I always talk to my colleague, can Water Resources Agency really solve the problem in Taiwan? But actually, it's not possible because there are so many ministries, so many different disciplines involved. And also, is our law and regulation available or flexible enough to face the so-called extreme weather condition? And also for the government, the most difficult or challenging task is how to make decision under uncertainty. Nobody knows how many typhoons we are going to have. Nobody knows if we are going to have so-called 1,000-year flood event. But we have to make sure the cities are safe, make sure the infrastructure is there, make sure everybody is safe. So we need flexibility. But actually, flexibility is not existing in our government operation in Taiwan, in China, in the United States. So I try to promote, we call it interdisciplinary dialogue. Especially for the university professors and students, we make sure we educate our students. They have interdisciplinary training, and they are well prepared so that when they leave the university, they can face their job, their challenge, and their career. And also, most importantly, is interagency coordination. How can different ministries, departments, and central government and local government, they can work as a team? Actually, this is a culture thing. And European, they are quite good in interagency coordination, but for the Asian and even the United States, I think the interagency coordination is simply lacking, and we have to promoting that. And in conclusion is actually from local solution to integrated system. I try to keep saying that we want to solve the city flood problem or water shortage problem. We want to enhance the resilience of city. Actually, it's a system. It's not just a project. It's not just a great infrastructure. We need a new infrastructure. So it calls for new resilient-based design approach. How to work as a team, how let different discipline people, they can talk together. So we focus on system-wide service. So actually 3 principles is day-to-day value, standardized events, and failure. So 5, for the flood risk management is, for the first, you have to monitor, then you have to adopt. And most importantly, do more with less. It's not necessarily we are going to spend a lot of money. And also, we have to size the opportunity. Actually, global climate change is the largest challenge, the largest crisis. But actually, similarly, is the largest opportunity. So we have to size of the opportunity. And most importantly, we have to do paradigm shift. Nothing is safe. So we have to do it design for failure. We make sure when water over the design standard, the city is still safe, base function is still maintained. And most importantly is work as a team. Interdisciplinary dialogue, interagency coordination. So the key words is global climate change is not a problem waiting for a solution. Actually, an effective strategy was to make sure sustainability in the contents of climate change that require more than just good science, and also communication. It requires trusted science. Actually, this science not only limited to the College of Engineering and Science. I keep emphasizing that financial management, law, regulation, and financial arrangement. So this actually, those sciences are more important than from the science. Actually in Taiwan, I think most of the country like that, 90%, even 80% of the problem are political problem. The problem engineer can solve actually is very limited. and also informed policy. The policy of the government has to be very clear. And we have to make sure policy from different ministries, they don't conflict with each other and motivate the business. We have to create a new business. And most importantly, we tend to forget, we have to engage public. We have to listen to the people. We have to talk to the people. That's why I keep emphasizing that it's participatory decision making. So change the old pattern of thinking and live with help to solve the problem of today. So I try to share you is the inspiring projects. And most importantly, we have to make new rule for business and institution. We have to make sure the new business is waterproofing, their carbon footprint is very low. And also we need creativity, and we have create partnerships from public to private, and we enhance the citizenships, and we have to create the new leadership styles. Actually, the traditional leadership apparently cannot solve most of the flood problem or water shortage problem, at least in Taiwan. So we try to promoting so-called new leadership styles. I think this is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
To communicate and work together to solve this problem. For me, it seems like they are in different towers and they're not really talking to each other.
That's a good question.
Actually, I've been a professor for 36 years. And I've been a privilege, have the opportunity to work for the government from central to city. And actually the dilemma, I think all of us, we are facing is that the government needs, the university cannot deliver. And our research cannot be applied by the government. So actually in Taiwan, at least when I used to for the government, I tried to create a partnerships. For example, on disaster management, NTU, our university, is the coach of Taipei and New Taipei City. So we have to make sure the problem the city government have, the university professor and graduate students, they are familiar with. So we got the funding from the city government and we do our own research. We call it problem solving oriented research. And actually just a couple of years turned out was quite successful. That means our professor, graduate students, we are very familiar to the problem in the field. And our technology, our tool, our model can be, we have to make it using a language the government officer they can understand. And we have to make sure we prepare all the standard operation procedure. So everybody in the government, they know how to perform, how to act when disaster comes. So actually create partnership is very important. So actually we would like to share with most of the government that how to using the invention or the tool invested by the university and to help the government solve the problem. So we do have some very successful experience.
Very good question. I think, Dr. Lee, I try very hard to connect to local city in Silicon Valley, but always have some not too much experience, successful experience. I think the problem, just like you say, missing the partnership, especially the money. In US, city government usually don't have a lot of money. So even for research purpose, they are restricted to do that. So how did you setting the funding? Well, you talk about partnership, right? How did you getting the who provided money here? Who chipping that? You know,
actually, when we talk about the city government, actually the city in Taiwan is a very big city. For example, New Taipei City, we have 4 million people. Yes. That means they have enough budget. And in Taiwan, there's all the governments from central to the local. There's a certain percentage of the budget has to be using on problem solving oriented research.
That's good.
And it's our culture, is our university always work very closely with our government agency. And in our government, actually, quite a good portion of the minister, they are university professors. So actually, we know each other very well. And also, again, Taiwan is a small country, so everybody know everybody. So it's very easy for us to dialogue and to share, to exchange experience. And I think, well, that's the culture. So we have to change the culture. And it turned out very successfully in Taiwan. And I try to promote that in the United States. I try to help the FEMA talk to House and Urban Development. And I try to facilitate the dialogue between the university and government agency. I think this is some of the successful experience we have here in Taiwan.
That's good. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank
Just
you.
last question. You know, when we engage with San Jose City, engage with other city, you know, I think from city staff perspective, this is like extra work for them, you know? Why do you want to engage with you? Because why do we need to spend a meeting time with you, you know? Unless you have a special budget and from city leader and think that's a part of your task, then that would be useful. Otherwise, they always put a low priority because they always have other thing to do, other meeting to do. They end up becoming we chasing them instead of they chasing us. You know, that's a not good feeling for us. Make sense?
Actually, that's why I keep promoting so-called participatory decision making.
Yes.
For example, those two projects, actually me, myself, as a vice mayor, I spent 100 hours, talk to the people, inspire people, and then people can feel the government is working. And then the mayor will become very popular. So they smell the taste of popularity. And then he would like to put money in this kind of activity. Actually, we try to create a win-win situation.
Okay, thank you.